Welcome back to the Orpa Wendy Fry Show.
Hi, I'm the reason your dad left and the reason you're left-handed, Orpa Wendy Fries. Last week, we reviewed the book Jane Eyre on this show, and this is a story of her own life. That was on the book club segment of this show, the Orpa Wendy Fry Show. This week, I have a treat. I got the woman herself, Jane Eyre, to come and have a chat with me. So, please welcome our very special guest, Jane Eyre.
Girl, okay.
Let me fix myself. Thank you. Wow, so you're so welcome. Thank you for coming all the way from England to join us. I love the accent, by the way.
Thank you so much. I forget I have an accent sometimes. Also, girl, you can call me Jeazy. That's what all my friends call me.
Sounds good, Jeazy. So let's begin with your life. What were the struggles that made up the entirety of the beginning of the book and that really led to the demise of some characters?
Well, I was an orphan, and not all orphans are treated badly, but I was physically and mentally abused by my caretaker, Miss Reed, where she's my aunt, but not by blood, and I've forgiven her for this, as I grew through my life.
It's very, very
I
important.
let it go, but I did hold that against her, and I have a lot of trauma from never being understood and being treated horribly.
Yeah.
And it definitely gave me my fire and my personality.
Wow, and we can see that throughout the book. So through that, what was the biggest factor that aided you through your struggles in your childhood and into your teen years?
I think school was the biggest thing for me. The school gave me an outlet besides being angry.
And how did you get to that school, Jeazy?
I think I got to the school because I know I got to that school because my aunt didn't want to deal with me anymore, so she sent me away to Lowood School. It's a boarding
That's
school.
a boarding school. Wow,
Yes.
That's very intense.
It
But that was
was.
a culture shock for you, right? A
It
very
was.
different vibe, but you really fit in, right?
I really did. Education is great because it provides people who aren't from old money a way to provide for themselves and find themselves, to be independent, because I felt safe there. It was a haven for me because everybody was so loving and accepting and no one was beating me and yelling at me. And it was just a really good way for me to gain my independence and not be dependent on somebody who treats me so horribly.
Wow, that's very empowering to all the women viewers here on the show. Okay, now safety in hard times is an interesting concept. Who are these people that made you feel that safety that we all need?
Well, at where my aunt lived, the nursemaid Bessie at Gateshead, she was amazing. She took care of me. She was the only person in that whole house who treated me kindly. Everyone just regarded me as a burden, and she was the first person to really show me affection.
Wow.
And then at my school at Lowood, Miss Temple was the woman who really took care of me and provided for me, and she always made sure that my needs were met. Even when people of authority tried to attack me at school, she was the one who was there.
Wow, so she was very your guardian angel
Yes.
there. Wow, that's very important to have in our lives. And so, when you were a governess, as we learned in the story, that's where you met your now husband, Mr. Rochester, correct?
Oh yes, that is where I met that big lug. He just charmed me into falling for him. I couldn't help it. But
Who wouldn't? I mean, come on now,
I
ladies.
know.
Oh.
But our relationship did start off a little rocky.
Yeah, obviously,
Yeah.
with that crazy ex-wife. Well, they were still married, but that's the tea, honey. Okay, so let's hear about his story and the trials and tribulations that they put you through.
So, basically, the tea is, when I first went to govern his daughter and be a private teacher, I didn't like him. I was not about it. But then, as things progress, for some reason, I just started to fall for him. He grew on me. It was whatever.
Yeah.
So, he had a chick at the time named Blanche Ingram.
Ugh, I've had some Ingrams in my past life, so I can understand.
Oh, yeah, no, and she was pretty, but she was just a gold digger. She was in it for his money, and I saw that, but I just, took a step back. They ended up breaking up, so we got together, and literally at the altar, someone in the audience was like, "Oh, he's married." I'm sorry.
Wow.
What? Yeah,
That must have been a huge shock.
It was, and we go back to the house. He's like, "Look, listen, this is Bertha. She's been in the attic, but she's insane, so it doesn't count." But I was sharing as not caring. I'm not about that. So I left. I had to respect myself. I could not just be a side chick to this other wife, and that's adultery, and God doesn't like that. So I left.
Within respecting your Christian values, you were able to,
Yes.
I understand that. I really get that.
Yeah, so I ended up coming back after, hanging out with my relatives. One of my great uncles died, so I received a lot of money.
And through that, you discovered you had new cousins, correct?
Yes.
And that cousin tried to marry you.
Oh, he did. It was really awkward. He was very in love. He actually loved somebody else, but he asked me to go to India with him on a missions trip. And I told him I'd go, but not as his wife.
But it was disguised to kind of trick you into marrying him,
Yes,
correct?
and
But you knew where your heart was.
Yeah, and my heart was still with Mr. Rochester. I loved him. So we ended up, that didn't happen. I didn't go to India, and I ended up going back to Mr. Rochester to see how he was. And his crazy wife, Bertha, set their house on fire, and his hand got burned off. But he was single as a Pringle, so we ended up
That's when you got your
getting
chance.
married,
You see?
yes.
Sticking around isn't
Oh,
always
yes.
a bad thing. Wow. So, obviously, you've had some bouts with marriage. Marriage isn't an easy thing. What do you think makes a marriage healthy and strong as a companionship?
I think you're right. Marriage isn't easy at all, and marriage must be filled with common ground and passion. Because so many people like to marry, especially in my time, just for money and for status. But that is always going to be doomed. You need to find somebody who you love and your heart is full for, and who also you share a lot of things in common with.
Yes.
And then once the heart is in it, you will be so great together and be completely compatible as a partnership.
That's incredible to hear. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure.
So amazing.
After the break, we will see Miss Jane on a panel giving some lovely advice to some eligible bachelors and bachelorettes. See you next time.
Don't go away. The Oprah Winfrey Show will be right back.